Wanna ride with me, catch a vibe with me, go get out with me, yeah. Shorty, I'm a riding G, I'm a dying piece, I'm a ride.
Hello and welcome. So we're going to do a similar mission in the Kiowa as well as the Apache in the same video. And there's a lot of information in the description of this video for the startup and how to use the weapons in the Kiowa. So have a look at the description of this video. Let's get started. I'm just going to bring up the loadout and we're going to throw on some AGM-114K missiles, 2 on that side, and on the other side we're just putting on the M3P100, the gun. Click OK, we'll jump in the cockpit and get the cold dark started.
Copy.
I'm going to go over to here and click on the part set, then we're going to go up to here and click on the IFF. Going to go up to here and click on what is known as the Fadec. Click on the IGN. Clicking up here for the anti-collision light, and then over to here for the battery. You're just right clicking all of those. Then over to here, we're going to go down to here and right click on the key. This here we're going to put to throttle to idle, and then we're going to left click on the start button. Hold it down, and it starts up. So now we're just waiting, but you can get rid of the acknowledge sound by clicking the acknowledge button. Aircraft starting up. I'm going to leave the label on. If you ever want to, you can get a free camera by hitting left control and F11, and then you can look at the helicopter in a little bit more detail. Let's jump back in the cockpit. So given that a little bit of time, we're just going to go up to here, and what we're clicking is this DC gen, AC gen, and also this start button. And then up here is fuel boost, so right clicking that. So we're just right clicking all of those. Then we're going down to here, and we're just going to put the throttle to full. Click the acknowledge button as needed. I'll go over to here and just change the N to NR. And then down here we've got SCAS. I'm going to turn on this by right click, and right click these 3 buttons. And down here we've got the master arms, so we're going to right click to armed, and then right click once to armed. So now all that's done and our weapons are on board, we're going to go into actually we can click up here for NAV ALIGN. And then just see here it says fast, left click that once, and then if you click fast you'll notice this disappears quite quickly. And it's done, alignment's complete. So now I just want to go into the weapons page, so we're pushing up on the weapons select page, and in here I'm clicking on weapons bit setup page, left click once, missiles per code, left click once. I'm going to put in 2 for primary, and then 0 for alternative. And you can see there's 2 in primary, 0 in alternative, so we're all set up. I'll click right once to put it onto the Hellfires, and down here it has launch standby. Left click once until it has rotated through to NORM. You want it on norm. Now we just have to put it up into the sky, but we can do a few more things while we're still on the ground. So we'll jump over to the second seat with 2 on the keyboard. We're just going to go over to here and right click on it once to put it to standby, right click again to put it to arm. Going down to here, we've got MMS, so I'm going to left click on that in just a moment, but down here we've got this switch. We're going to right click, and right click until it's on FWD. Left click once on MMS, and now we've got an image behind us. So if we look up here, we can see this is facing backwards. What we need to push on the keyboard is this button on the throttle, Actually, we'll just change it to Copilot and then it will tell me. We're pushing MMS manual/slave mode. So we're going to click that. So I'm going to push that button, and you might need to hold it down or you might need to click it a couple of times, but you'll notice it's now spinning around. I found I clicked it twice and the second time I held it down. I'm going to click on F1, we'll jump back in the cockpit and then push 1 because we can take off now. So we're just going to take off, put in a little bit of left rudder and do the normal takeoff. So we're hovering, no problem. And we'll just go upwards. So we've got a whole heap of targets out that way. And more off to our left slightly. So we can shoot them from here. Okay, so we're just going to put on the AI pilot so he can hover for me.
Alright, let's see if I can pick up a stable hover.
He's hovering for me. So now we're just going to jump to the other seats. 1. Just make sure that you've got your Hellfire selected on the screen. We'll jump into the other screen. Okay, so now here we need to push it into manual mode. So we're going to push that same button which I just showed before again, and it gets into manual mode. You know it's in manual mode because it'll show down here, manual. Alright, so now we can now move the screen down. And we'll start looking around. I just want to check which direction we're pointing. We're pointing in the right direction for sure. And we've got a target down here. So we're going to point track him. And then what I'm going to do is just turn on the laser on him. But before I do, one thing which isn't mentioned in the description of the video is up here you've got to click this button here. And you're changing it to AH-64D. Now you could change the laser code if you wanted to. You'd have to change this on the kneeboard, right shift and K, as well as go into here, click list, and change this number, AH-64D, by clicking a number and then going down here and entering your new number. But we don't need to do that, so all we need to do is put the laser on. So we're going to fire the laser. We know it's firing because it's flashing, and then we just need to fire. So I'm going to hold down the fire weapon and rifle, and it's off, and we can see it up in the distance there. So let's have a look. Target destroyed. Excellent. So we'll take the laser off just for the moment, and we'll zoom out and we'll look for the next target. We found a couple up here. So we'll zoom in and zoom in again. We've got our friend here. We're going to point track him, and we've got a lock. So now we're going to put a laser on him, and then we're going to fire. Rifle, and that's away. You can notice we're not pointing in this direction, but the missile is still tracking him. And target destroyed. Excellent. So that's all of our missiles gone from the aircraft. So now we're just going to put it back on the ground. So we'll take back over control, jump into the first seat, just get ready with a little bit of left rudder, and then hand the controls back to me in just a moment.
Roger. Roger.
There
You
we
have
go.
the controls.
We've smoothly taken the controls back. And we'll just let it slowly descend. Spin it around if I can. And we'll face it this way and park it over there. And we're safely on the ground. Great. So now all I'm going to do is just take the throttle to off and turn the battery off. And that's it. That's a really quick shutdown. I can take the labels off if I want. And there's our helicopter. So now we will do the Apache. Hi and welcome. So I just wanted to go back and see if I still know how to use the Apache. I've done no setup whatsoever. I'm just going to jump into the loadout. So left Alt and the apostrophe, the button next to Enter on the keyboard. And I'm just going to take away the payload on the outside. And on the inside, I'm just going to put on some AGM-114K Hellfires. So we're going to put that on both sides. And then click OK.
Request refueling.
Then we'll jump into the cockpit. We'll do the cold and dark start. We'll push I on the keyboard to get rid of this I thing. We don't need it. And then we're just going to look down here. We're going to right click once to turn on the battery, left click once to open the lid, and left click once to turn on the APU. So that's happening. We can jump into the external view. These labels, the blue writing, if you ever want to get rid of it, left shift and F10 on the keyboard. I'm just pushing it 3 times and then it's gone. And also if you have a status bar along the bottom, to get rid of that, it's left control and Y. Push that and it will be gone. Okay, so we had to wait a few seconds there because what we're looking for is for this screen to come on. The screen is on. As soon as that screen's on, you can now right click here on the left and the right for engine start. Once you've done that, what you can do is you can hold down right shift and home and right alt and home. And we're almost cold and dark started complete, which is pretty good. You can see it starting up, and we can see our missiles getting put onto the aircraft. You can see the difference. So we want the in ones, black on the inside. They're the ones we're going to keep. They're the K ones, and the ones on the outside with the Lima ones or the L ones. Also, if you never knew, you can get a free camera by holding down left control and F11, and then you can use the mouse to look around, and you can use the mouse wheel to zoom in, so you can zoom in on your helicopter and have a much closer look at it. Pretty cool. Push F1 to jump out into the cockpit. And we are all set up. All we need to do now is push page up on the keyboard to put full throttle. And we'll just watch that happening. So we're on 100%. And then what we can do is we can go over to here, we can turn the APU off. So left click once and close the lid. And that's it. Cold and dark start. We can take off. We can close our window. We're just clicking up here. And that's going to be a lot quieter now. So now what I want to do is I want to jump into the second position, or the position in front of us, by 2 on the keyboard to jump back, F1 on the keyboard. So I'm just jumping into 2, going to push I to get rid of this I thing, and then left control and V on the keyboard is going to bring up our George AI thing pilot, so we can control the guy behind us. Then I'm going to tap W until I have an altitude of about 300. You can use it for whatever you like, but that's what we need to do today. So he's going to take us up, push F10 on the keyboard, and it will give us all these units that are very close by, as you can see. Some of them are moving, so we're giving us a little bit of an extra challenge, and we're located over here. We'll see if we can hit something. Been a little while since I used this helicopter, so
Balkan altitude.
we'll see how we go. Okay, so we've got armament up here. I'm going to change it to ARM, and you can also check that by just clicking on WPN, and you can see up here it says ARM. So I'll just go through some of the commands that we'll probably use on my joystick. So the first two things we're going to push is this LHG Weapons Action WAS switch M missile. That's the first one I'm going to push. Then the second one I'm going to push is RHG Site Select Switch -TADS. RHG Site Select Switch -TADS. That's the second one I'm going to push. So I'm just going to quickly go do that. So we'll push that and then push the other one, and it brings on a screen. Then what I'm going to do is explain what else we need to know. We need to move the screen around, so we need to push this RHG manual tracker man track switch up, down, left and right, so we need to know that. Then to zoom in and change our sort of from FLIR to TV mode, we're using this LHG TADS sensor select switch FLIR, LHG TADS sensor select switch TV. We need to have something set to that. We also need LHG TADS FOV switch N narrow, LHG TADS FOV switch W wide, and also is really helpful is this one, the zoom one, LHG TADS FOV switch zoom. So that'll let us look around. Then once we have all that understood, we can use the laser so that we can start lasing. So to do that, we're using this button, RHG LRFD trigger, second detent, and then to fire, we're going to use LHG weapons trigger switch, first detent. So there's a lot of things there. Also, something very useful to have is this LHG image auto track offset switch. So that's what we're going to use on the moving target so we can target them. LHG image auto track offset switch, IAT center, and then to deselect we're using the OFS center, LHG image auto track offset switch, OFS center. So that's all of those buttons. We'll click cancel, and we'll click cancel, and also have a look in the description of the video because that will help a lot. So we're going to have a look in here. We're going to change it to TV mode, and I'm going to start looking down, and we'll see if we can see anything moving at all out there. We've got one friend out there it seems, so we'll see if we can zoom in on him. Now I did find that you need to wait a little bit before I could use the laser. We'll see if that's the case. So I'm going to use the auto track button on him.
Coming up.
Now before I can do too much, I've got to get rid of George. So left control and V on the keyboard. And that's gone. So now we can use all our commands without being interrupted by George. And to select him, like to actually target lock him at this point in time, this is the button I'm pushing. LHG image auto track offset switch, IAT center. That's the button I'm pushing. So I'm going to target him, and you can see now it's just following him. So the next step we've got to wait for, or we can do, is just a laser. So we're going to turn on the laser, and it looks like we've got to wait for the laser to be ready. That's okay. Now I don't know if it's just because I'm too quick with the process, but I found just doing nothing at all and the laser will start working. Just jump into the external view, the back view for a second, and we'll go back to the front.
Balkan altitude.
We've got our target lock. We can change our brightness, we can change our contrast. Interestingly, it looks like you can dim out the symbology. I don't know why you would ever want to do that. But maybe it's in the way. Okay, so we can use our laser now. So I'm going to turn on the laser. And that's pretty much how long you gotta wait. I don't know why you have to wait for the laser, but it seems for some reason you have to wait for the laser. So we've got the laser aiming on this guy. We've also got the auto track on. I'm using the Thrustmaster Hotess Warthog, and I've just got a switch on the side of the throttle that is like a lock position. So once it's locked in, I don't have to hold down the button. But if you set it to something else, you'll find you have to hold down the button. Some people suggested the caps lock. You can use the caps lock on the keyboard. You can use whatever you want, but if you want to hold it down, you can. And now all I need to do is just do the actual fire. So for the laser, it was this button, RHG-LRFD trigger, second detent, and then to fire the actual missile, it's this LHG weapons trigger switch, first detent. I'll jump out, and then I'm just going to fire. Let's see if we have any luck. So if we look outside, we can see the missile's gone. We can see it just out here. He's being tracked. And we know we've got a laser on him because we've got this little star next to his range. Target destroyed. So that was pretty successful little attempt. We'll see who else we can find. There looks like there's a fixed target there. We want to try and get the moving ones first if we can. We found one. Okay, so we're going to target lock him. It's going to follow him for us. Now, our laser's just firing the whole time. I can turn the laser off if I want and then turn it back on. But now we're just going to fire. So, let's go. 15 seconds to impact. You can see down here about 12, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, and sometime soon. Destroyed. Okay, so we'll stop the zoom out and see what else we can find. We've got one up here. We'll target select him. Now, interestingly, it hasn't followed him, so let's just try again. Yep, we're following him now. And then we'll fire. Got that second target. It's moving along the bottom of us there. 14 seconds. Target destroyed. Beautiful. Now there was one moving along behind here. I think we got him. We can zoom in. Got a lock. And then we'll fire. We got him. Got a target moving up here. We'll try and zoom in on this one. We'll follow him. Laser is still firing, so we just have to shoot. And then I think we've got 2 missiles left, looking over here. 2 Hellfires. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I think we're going to have an impact. Yep, we've got impact. So we might try and find something that's not moving now, if that's possible. There's a few up here. So I'll give him a lock. Just take a laser off just to be sure. Put a laser back on. And then fire. About 17 seconds away. Is that helicopter? 5 seconds away. It's damaged him pretty bad. And we saw that little target moving around down here. So we'll zoom in on him. And we'll fire. This is the last missile. And you can also see we're carrying one more just here. Alright. Couple of targets up this way. I'll zoom in. This time I won't do a target lock, we'll just put the laser on him, so there's nothing but a laser. So this is just lasering that spot. Let's give that a go and we'll fire. Seconds. We can sort of adjust where we're pointing. Target destroyed. Great. So we can jump back to George or AI pilot with left control and V. And we'll just take that altitude away with F, I think, on the keyboard. I'll just let it hover about 10.
Copy, coming down.
Going back down. We can open our window if we wanted. I think you click up here. And we're on the ground. And if we want to shut it off, we just have to turn it to off. Right shift and end. And right alt and end. No, right control and end. Right shift and end. Right alt and end. No, right control and end. Getting this page down. Right alt and end. I just had to use page down and then right alt and end, and then it pulled it the rest of the way out. So that's us on the ground very, very, very quickly. That's all good. It should stop spinning. Left control and F11. Pretty cool. Here's a view of the Apache all the way to the end. And that's the Apache. Thank you for watching.
Wanna ride